All right. I'm recording this at the tail end of what was my best approximation of a live covering of an insurrectionary attempt in Brazil against Lula's government. By which I mean I saw the notification on my Twitter and then I rolled out of bed and I haven't done my hair and I haven't showered and I'm hungry and I'm thirsty and I might die while recording this. You never know. I'm a very fragile boy. Speaking of fragile boys, Bolsonaro supporters, huh? Bolsonaro supporters earlier today in the capital city of, is it capital city, Brasilia? That's the capital, right? They moved it there? Yeah, Brazilian capital city. Launched a simultaneous attack on the three major houses of federal power, the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. And there were a lot of them. I mean, seriously, like a lot of them. Like thousands and thousands of people. And, you know, these bold insurrectionists, probably inspired by the events of January 6th, you know, it's only 2 days off from that, date-wise, after all, forgot a critical part of the plan of January 6th, which was, of course, to, I mean, let's be real, a lot of those Jan 6 protesters wanted to kill, like, Pelosi and stuff, and murder a bunch of liberals, but ostensibly, the plan for January 6th was to delay or prevent the certification of the votes that would have made Biden president. You know, great plan, good idea. Problem here is that these buildings were empty. All three of them. It is a Sunday. The Supreme Court was empty. Their Congress was empty. Lula was in another town. They were all empty. Apparently, many of these insurrectionists had been camping out in the areas around Brasilia, getting ready for their big day, waiting outside military bases and begging the soldiers inside to participate in a coup. No shit, that's actually been happening. But the big day arrived, and they accomplished a lot. And by a lot, I mean they smashed up some stuff inside. I took a look at a lot of videos of the interior. We got all of the, the January 6th classic, like, rehashes, where you have, they were singing the, here it is, yeah. Singing the Brazilian national anthem inside their, inside their nationally recognized voting chambers. Having a grand old time, hooting and hollering, throwing stuff around, broke a lot of windows, accomplished literally nothing. There was not even a possibility of them accomplishing anything because, again, nobody was there. There were plenty of videos that popped up of police getting along a little bit too well with the many insurrectionists. There were police officers taking selfies with them. There were some MP who were kind of like getting along with escorting some of the protesters, insurrectionists. You know, a lot of this stuff comes off a little bit blurry from a distance, but there was some pretty clear up close getting along with stuff. This happened in Jan 6 too. You know, cops just suck. Doesn't matter where you are. They just really suck. Cops love fascism. It's just a thing they tend to like. There were a couple of real questions though. Not just about, like what potentially could they accomplish in the insurrection, the answer to which is nothing, but also how did this even happen? The Secretary of Security for the federal district has apparently left Brazil and traveled to Orlando where Bolsonaro is. So this guy, who would have had a lot of power over security and crowd management in the areas where the insurrection took place, just happens to be doing, a little mutual jerk-off sesh with our buddy Bolsonaro, who is laying in the minions bed of the MMA fighter in Orlando, eating KFC. Can somebody link the minions bed? Hold on. MMA minions bed. I don't know why I'm asking you to do it. I feel like you can find this pretty quickly, right? Like that's... Yeah, there we go. This is it, right? This is the minions-themed bed in this guy's mansion, where we can assume that Bolsonaro is sleeping right now at 4:26 p.m. with a food coma from KFC. This is the only reality I'm capable of processing. Truly stranger than fiction. The cool thing here is that, how do I put this? Okay, you know how the Democrats are cucks? After January 6th here in America, there was a lot of hemming and hawing over how to handle this and what to do and optically how to handle things. I always said, and even though the ship has sailed on this, January 6th was optically a grand slam for the Democrats, The Republicans are slowly working to erode our democracy to institute a fascist dictatorship, to completely destroy every democratic institution and put their cronies in charge. And them trying and failing to do that is one of those, oh, we're just going to arrest all of you moments. You can do that. Did you know you can do that? You can do that. If you know. It turns out if an entire political party is committed to destroying democracy and ending the rule of law and tearing apart the Constitution, you can actually just like act rather than tutting them and going, oh, next time, Lula, my man Lula. As soon as it became clear that the insurrectionary attempt had broadly failed, you know, the military police came in, kicking people out, blah, blah, blah. Lula took to the stage, podium, and delivered a fiery speech. He basically said, I don't know how else to put it, everything I would say. He went up there and he called his detractors fascists, said Bolsonaro is a coward who fled to the United States. He said that he has lost elections, but his supporters did not do as Bolsonaro has done. He called them, he essentially just trashed them, filthy people. He said that he was going to make an example of them, find all of them, hold them to account, call them terrorists, that's right. He was going to, he accused the police of being complicit with them, said that they were going to be made an example of. He said that he is invoking federal interventionary powers to give himself the ability to directly intervene in the affairs of the state in which the capital exists. You know, essentially like an equivalent would be like the U.S. president hitting the big red button that says, you are now also the governor of Georgia. You can now do whatever you want in Georgia, and you can do more than the governor could do in Georgia. You're basically the super governor of Georgia, basically bypassing the federalized separation of powers. And he's doing this because he wants investigations and arrests, and this is incredibly based. He's basically doing what I wish the Democrats had done. He's using a failed insurrectionary attempt by fascists to intervene and galvanize power, to attack them and embolden his own regime, you know? That's a good thing. That's good. I think it's good when fascists lose and good people grow stronger because they lose. I love that, actually. That's good. Personally, I love that. There will be people who will talk about this as it's some, you know, authoritarian gesture. It's not. It's fully within the legal, you know, behavior of the Brazilian president, unlike the insurrection, mind you. And additionally, it should be noted that democratic behavior is behavior which preserves democracy. There's nothing pro-democracy about sitting back passively and allowing fascists to tear your democracy apart. You are not a warrior of democracy by just standing there tut-tutting them as they do it again and again and again and again until they finally win. You have to stop them from doing it. And it seems like that's what Lula is going to do here. I am incredibly happy to see him respond in this way. And I genuinely believe, at least I hope, that this failed insurrectionary attempt will not only be a black mark on the fascists of Brazil and the Bolsonaristas or Bolsominions or whatever they like to say. Also, that it is used as a global reminder, not only of the threat fascists pose, but also what must be done to protect your country from them. Not just a passive, legalist, institutionalist defense of the systems that you take for granted, but rather an active, open, and direct confrontation of systems that seek to destroy yours. I have good hopes. Oh, and as an aside, because the Lula administration, the Biden administration are on good terms with each other, to the point where the Biden administration pledged the administration's national security advisor to Lula to prevent an insurrectionary attempt against him. This might be the first time in world history that America has actually helped to stop the overthrow of a democratically elected socialist. This might actually be the first time that has ever happened. How wonderful is that? Yes, Brazil may not be in NATO, but they are in the NATO of my heart. And we will protect them. And maybe one day they'll have to protect us because they at least have a left-leaning, like a real leftist leader, you know, to capitalize on this. We're sleepwalking into another Jan 6. Brazil loves you, and I love Brazil. As long as Lula's in charge, you know, it's a temporal thing. I believe in you guys.